can see all right. Everything good. Everything good, Morris. I'll give it a minute. A second. Peace, Morris. Peace, Morris. Getting ready to get started. Peace, Morris. Everybody a couple minutes. It's 4:05. Peace to all Moors and true light seekers. If anybody come here with their religious dogma or with debates, you will be blocked for life. I just have to put that out there because we're not here for playing, and I'm not here for no games with anyone or to be just answering a whole bunch of nonsense questions. I'm not here for that. And so we give it a couple more minutes. I told Moors that we're going on Islam. Peace. I told Moors that we'll be on live on YouTube. I'm not doing any messages on IG anymore. So if Moors don't understand how to be diligent and follow instructions per se, which is nothing wrong with being guided. Which is nothing wrong with being guided, Moors. And that's what we have to get back into. It seems like it's kind of slow. But it's all good. It's all good, Moors. 4:07, we got a couple more minutes. Three minutes, so get your pencils and your papers, Moors. Get your pencils and your papers. But while we waiting, man, I can't believe that Moors is really going on some propaganda page. That's why all these Moors posting this stuff on their page. Blew my mind last night, man. Blew my mind that it's a web page that Moors be on, and that's why all these Moors be getting all this stupid stuff, and it's on every Moor page. Moors be posting that garbage, and it's a website Moors be getting that stuff from. I did not know. I didn't know, y'all. No, I didn't know. That's why. Yes, it is. Look, I wrote everybody's name down. I've been on everybody's page. It's a site. That's why I was just up yesterday. Me, my mom, my dad. We were sitting here. And my mom like, Kareem, I'm gonna show you something. Cause I'm like, why everybody page got the same thing? And I'm like, she like, cause this is where they're going to get it from. I said, oh man, I was disappointed. Like I had to block a lot of people today. I'm very disappointed that people go on some lazy web, go on a site and spread propaganda. Yes, it is. And Moors know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why when you look at it, well, that's why if you're on social media and people following you, follow other people, look at it. Look at the algorithm. Look what they got on their page, and then look what other people got on their page. It's the same garbage. People posting the same garbage. Islam Noble. People posting the same garbage. So that's why I said before I even get into teaching, I'm here with a divine warning and a message. I'm here to resurrect us. I'm not here to be arguing with nobody with no religion. I don't have time for garbage. If that's how you feel and you feel that's going to do something for you, well, I'm going to see what you're doing for your people and what type of movement y'all doing and who you educating and what land y'all have and how you teaching your people that they're not Negro, black, and color. All that other stuff means nothing to me. What I said is I'm very disappointed in a lot of Moors, especially a lot of Moors that I know, especially in a lot of empresses. I see why people fall off. I see why people confuse, because people will stand behind a lie. People stand behind a fake meme that they get off a web page, and I'm like, that ain't even real law. I'm like, man, because it's a thing called the Free Information Act. It's a thing called the precedented cases. It's a thing called a doc number. What I'm saying, all that stuff Moorish begin on them pages off that fake website is garbage. So now I know why every Moor have the same thing on their page. Because every Moor is going on this particular website just posting stuff. Just posting stuff. And I said, see, we shouldn't be playing around. You see what I'm saying, Moors? You see the garbage? You see how people make excuses and the laziness? That's exactly what Moors doing. They going on a particular web page and just going on there, just scrolling and posting stuff. And they doing this every day. And then they telling you that they're conscious and they woke. Moors, what are we doing? What are we doing? But today, we getting ready to teach today. But did y'all know it was a web page, a website that most of these Moors and all these so-called woke people go on, and they get that stuff, and that's why everybody you see on Instagram got these same goofy, stupid memes on their page, especially all these memes about coronavirus. I said, man, none of these Moors is not in a laboratory with their test tube and their beakers. None of these Moors is doing any research. None of them. But we are posting stuff, so you're gonna have to stand behind it. Just like Moors posting, in 72 hours, your debit card won't work. Okay, well, in 72 hours, if your debit card is still working, every Moor that's posting that garbage, what you gonna say in 72 hours? I don't know the name of the page. The Moors know that. The ones that be on it, they know. Y'all know. The ones that's on it that be posting the memes, they know. They know. Come on, man. This is just common sense. How can everybody have the same thing on their page? But you just, I see something, I'm gonna copy it on, put it on your page. I'm gonna put it on my page. Where you think it's coming from? It's coming from a source. So are we that gullible? And are we that stupid? Everybody got these same stupid memes on there, and this just like the meme. If you just strip the Moors from the fez and the turbans, and then I ask Moors, where's that in the Constitution? Because it's in a particular Constitution. Moors don't know. And I say, but I see that on every Moor page, that meme. And then if we know that's the truth, why Moors are not wearing their fez and turban today? Every Moor should be getting their fez and turban from us with the proper perforations. That's what I'm saying. So it's not a mystery. When people be acting like, and I'm not talking about anybody particular. So when I speak Moors, please don't take what I'm saying personally. I'm speaking in general. When people be acting all shocked, I say, I don't know why you shocked. You seeing it? We on social media. Come on. I can show you all the fake memes, all the fake laws, all the fake everything. People that sitting at home posting stuff, posting garbage, come home every day to post some memes. And I say, man, you got to stand behind that. So you putting all this propaganda in the atmosphere. You see? Moors, and that's why I said Moors are lazy, and Moors talk about the enemy, talk about all this stuff, the enemy, fake news, all this stuff, and Moors are part of the problem because what they doing, spreading fake news. Moors are spreading fake news. Moors are part of the problem. See, we talking about somebody outside of ourselves, and I said the poison is within. Moors are part of the problem. Why? Because you spreading fake news. You spreading propaganda. No more will stand by none of them fake memes they post. Is what I'm telling you. All that stuff, that's for entertainment purposes only. So then the next question I ask Moors, are y'all playing? Are you playing? You see? And so Moors are playing because they're not coming to be educated. They're not coming to come together. They're not coming to covenant. Moors want to be entertained. We're supposed to be covenant. We're supposed to be trying to move around each other. We're supposed to be a part of somebody that's really doing something, that we can show a legacy. So are we playing? And that's where I'm at today, man, because I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. And then a lot of Moors act like they don't know what I be talking about. I said, come on, man. Moors know exactly what I'm talking about. Moors know exactly what I'm talking about. Moors know exactly what I'm talking about, family. And it's no disrespect to no one. Well, if you're on social media, just look around enough, you'll figure it out. I ain't saying you, Noble. I'm not talking about nobody specifically. So we should never say me. We should never say me. I'm talking about those that say they more. I'm talking about people part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. See, I'm a teacher from the temple. So I should be disappointed when those from the temple, they call themselves sheiks, and they supposed to be on the same level what we teaching. That's what I'm saying. I can care less what an individual do. I'm talking about these so-called sheiks that's confusing the people. That's what I'm saying, with propaganda and lazy study and not revealing the teachings. And that's what I be saying every time when a person everybody be saying not me, and I say it is collectively, because collectively that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do something collectively. So when we say not me, I say I feel you, but it is us. We got to correct the wrongs collectively and walk out the house synchronized. Until we do that, we can always say not me, not my house, not this, but then we get internationally, we'll never be recognized. Why? Because we let too many of us teach falseness. And then they say, oh, I'm just playing. That's what I'm saying. It's only one more science. That's your creed. The masonry is the thought process. Moore's not understanding this, man. Moore's not understanding the essence of what I'm saying. Because Moore's getting caught up in figures and lower science. I said, man, Moors don't even understand the Kemetic science. Moors aren't even historians. Moors don't really understand about agriculture. Moors can't teach nobody nothing, and it's no disrespect. Everybody's background is their background, but we don't need a whole bunch of people that think they the same. I mean, how can a person teach you about health and that's not their profession? How can a person teach you about finances and they're not exhuming finances? How can a person teach you about running a business? They don't have a business. We just gonna be pointing. We just gonna be talking about something and never do it. How can a person tell you something that's not valid and they don't give you nothing to compare to? This is what I'm saying. So when we say me, and a lot of times I'll be like, but I'm not talking about you specifically. And that's what I'm saying. Like we're supposed to be, we're here for fallen humanity. So what we save ourselves, and then they say we're gonna get into a little bubble and don't reach our hand out and save the ones that we see every day and say we love. What type of missionary is that? Because I'm a divine minister as well. I'm an adept. So what type of leader is that? That when they get something, they want to bear it and say, well, I got it, but don't want to help humanity. That's not even our teachings. That's not the teachings of our prophet Noble Darling. That definitely ain't the teachings of a righteous man, and it definitely, or empress, and it definitely ain't the teachings of an adept. If we're gonna always say not me, because once we get it as an adept, as a scientist, we're supposed to be what? Going in our community and spreading the good news. You see? So when I be speaking, man, I don't want Moors to get in their feelings like I'm speaking to them specifically. We should care. Because we in this earth. Why wouldn't you care? You dealing with individuals. So you in a bubble. So when you get in the real world, what, you don't care? You want to be around people that's totally saying things wrong, that you're around Moors just posting memes. We gonna be friends with them and know it's falseness and be like, hey, Noble, like what's the motive? Are you here to have fun? Because a lot of this stuff is not valid. You should be excluding yourself from garbage. You should want to separate yourself from all garbage. Why wouldn't you? Oh, you don't want to learn and be educated and know, or do we want to play? We don't want to be a part of a Moor that's consecrated and anointed to teach these teachings, or do we want to play, or do we want to follow characters? Do we want to have some of them built under the right auspices where we can have our own teachings, our own school, and under the laws? We can't be touched because we do things legally and lawfully. Legally and lawfully. Because the religious laws protect us. The Constitution protects us. Moors don't, I'm telling you, we can do things the right way. So we should care. And then when we say not me, I really pay attention to those vibrations, but I'm not talking about a person specifically, because we always have time to correct our lower self. And that's what I'll be saying, man. This is a unity. This is a family. Everybody's children are my children. Ain't no way I'm like, well, my kid's cool, then I'm around some Moors and their kids are not right. They're not understanding. And I'm saying, well, my kid's cool. No, I got to teach these babies. I got to teach their babies. Why? Because we got to be around each other. Because we got to covenant with each other. We got to be a community. We got to walk out the house synchronized. I got to teach these babies. I got to hold them. I got to love on them the same way I love on my own. I have to. That's my obligation and my duty. That's why I said ain't nothing secret with me. It's sacred, but it ain't secret. I'm removing the veil on everything, man. So I want us to be correct, our teachers. It take a village. It take a community. What y'all think a nation is all about? What do Moors think a nation consists of? What do you think of organization? The root of organized nation, organization. We got to get into etymology. We're not here to play. The laws protect us. You're not nothing individually. That's the problem. Because we're not under the right organizations where we protect each other. We are a body under certain laws, under certain covenants, under certain pledges, to where we are a body, and the laws protect that, especially the religious laws. So let's get with our Moorish prayer, man. We're going to get into this, man. I just had to get that out there in the atmosphere, nobles. I had to get that out in the atmosphere. Once we get it and once our household get it, I understand that. I understand about self-preservation. But once we get it, once your household get it, then what? You telling me you ain't going to help thy neighbor? And we have a community of Moors that's on the same wavelength, operating under the right flag, under the right auspices, not these characters that's coming out trying to make you some fake ID. And I'm like, what's that going to do? What ID, what that mess going to, it ain't going to do, it don't mean nothing. I'm telling you, it don't mean nothing. And the people that's making it know it don't mean nothing. They done sit down and fraudulently concealed you and getting you caught up as a domestic terrorist, knowing damn well that ID don't mean nothing. Knowing damn well they ain't going to no database. Because there's some individual with a computer to figure out the way to trick y'all. That's it. And more steady falling for the Jedi mind trick. Because we going to talk law today. But the prophet warns all Muslims, governors, ordered to read the proclamation at each meeting. That's why I say our prophet set the temple up a specific way. Everything else is propaganda. You can't just create something and then when people say, okay, well, where's the charter? Where's the affidavit? And it's nothing. It's nothing real because somebody just made you a card. It's only one Moorish Science Temple of America, man. It's only one. It's only one. It's only one. But I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work or in their homes or in the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out divine pleas to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the temple and the prophet, or vice versa. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by the order of our prophet Noble Ali, our Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Ali. I have to give my talisman benediction. I just have to, because these are things that we put in the atmosphere. So, may the benison of Allah be upon thee and thine always, as thou shouldst strive to be a credit to Allah, and make haste to bestow thy acts of love upon all our brothers and sister Moors, and do our best to shun all evil ones. Remember to take suckle of the breast of knowledge, wisdom, fortitude, charity, love, and all standing, that ye might nourish the souls of all men. Let the truth Let the truth be thy shield in the manifest battle of falsehood. Knows that we need not pick the lock to the gate of paradise by means of petty or criminal theft. For behold, Moors, the key to salvation already rests within our own hands, Moors. And yes, even though a portion of our nature is weakness, instability, and inconsistency, there is still the greater part of our nature, Moors, that is divine. May Allah, may Buddha, may Confucius, whatever language you give him praise, may it protect you, may it give you, may it lengthen your age, and may it give you everlasting peace. Shalom alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you. So, I hope y'all got your pencils and your papers, y'all. But like I said, I would be remiss if I didn't share my literature with y'all. Because see, we're a real organization and we're structured the right way. And I can ask for donations and I can give Moorish literature. You're not buying nothing. That's why I said, when you're under the right auspices, when you're under your body corporate, under your religious laws and your religious organization, if you understand the duality of state, you will understand what I'm saying. And you should want the literature. I ask Moorish just for simple donations. I say, Moorish, $20 donations, you get literature. That's why I said I don't ask for a donation like Moorish paying me like I'm some YouTuber. And a lot of people that be on here, they're like, that's all they do. I said, if that's what you do, that's fine. But I'm not here to be no successful YouTuber. That ain't my mission. I'm an educator. I'm trying to network and build our net worth and show Moorish that this internet, we can bring people together and we can start covenant together and we can put our finance together and we can have something. That's what this is about. This ain't about no plan. This is about us uniting. This is the uniting of Asia. I'm trying to pull us together. But one of the books that we gathered and compiled and divinely prepared is the interpretation of the divine creed of Moorish Islam. Every Moorish should have it. Sufism and the triple rule of the adapt chamber, featuring the Comet and adapt manual and the use of our carpenter tools. Every Moorish should have it. You should want them. We got our vegan snack book. We got a vegan snack book. I got a vegan cookbook. I got the book, The Black Scholars Who Debunk Eurocentric Propaganda. I mean, we write literature. We write literature. 14 famous Asiatic scientists in history. Right here. We don't have to get literature from no one else. Moorish America's Light of Ali, the Moorish Adapt Study Guide, the House of Ali Mysticism, the Egyptian Adept, Prophet and Angel. What more sharing the literature with you? Showing you like, hey man, don't let nobody get you caught up. We're building something, man. That's why I said, no, you're not paying me. I'm a real organization. I give taxes and receipts at the end of the year. I have real people that donate. I do real community service, man. My parents in the room, I fed seniors, man. I done packed backpacks for kids. I done went all over the high school speaking, telling kids who they are under our own platform. Under our own platform. That's what I'm trying to tell Moors. It's nothing new under the sun, Moors. When y'all dealing with me, we are an organization. And that means we have political power. We are an organization. We are a group of like-minded people under one auspice. Man, you should want to be protected by your religious laws. Especially if you call yourself a Moor. And you understand your history. So, I'm telling you, man, Moors should want to donate and get literature from us. You should never want to do nothing on your own. I would tell Moors, yeah, you can do stuff on your own, but then who you covenanting with? We should be willing to help a brother build and be able to teach and have our own structure and teach our children. Just like the Jews, just like the Chinese, everybody, they got their own structure. They teach their kids. They got their own schooling and stuff. We don't have nothing. I'm telling you, we can start right now. Man, we got a whole lesson plan to teach our babies. I print books. And for donations, for people that's part of our organization. Because it is an organization, church, organization, temple. If you structure right, I hope you're doing business the right way for you can help people in your community. But nope, you just paying somebody. And we print and we get these and we print these and ask for donations for a smaller fee. It's nothing. I'm telling you, people be lying. We got the literature and everything. I have a lot of connections where I can get to literature. I have a lot of connections where I can get to literature. And when I tell you, people be acting like they don't know stuff and they acting like our prophet is a mystery. No, because they buried him. They know them brothers had them feds on. See, they'll put Marcus Garvey on the platform, but they ain't gonna talk about our prophet because our prophet was like, you ain't no black, you ain't no nigger, you ain't no color. But see, them brothers are lied to you. They know about our prophet. Our prophet was before a lot of them. And then they started book dancing. They talk that FBI papers because they think nobody don't have them. Well, I have all the FBI papers from the government. No disrespect to people that love Fire Muhammad. They talk about his daddy was this. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And we start buck dancing with trying to act like we don't know something. But then Moorish talk about they know something that don't even exist. And Moorish debating on things that don't even exist. Moorish debating on some mystery God. I say y'all debating on some mystery God, but y'all want to buck dance around truth and around people that you can easily look them up. That stuff is ridiculous. Because these individuals be having a religious perspective. But Moorish should have no religious perspective. Moorish should stand strong on truth because we are scientists, we are adepts, we're master craftsmen. We ain't got time to be playing. How are we gonna say we educators and created the universities and we're gonna deal with propaganda and we're gonna deal with falseness? We deal with science, we deal with the zodiacs. We talk about the truth of the 4th of July when people just get you caught up in bull crap, but they don't tell you the cosmic events about the 4th of July. When us high scientists and with other nationalities taking your science and running with it and you repeating propaganda when the history is plain as day and nobody can go against science and the history is plain as day. But Moors playing. But Moors are playing, y'all. When I talk about real science, when I say I know Moorish not studying, that Moorish say, oh, I got the clock of destiny. I say, well, if you got it, then you'll understand what I'm saying. But you should want to do nothing by yourself. You should want to be covenant with a brother that can teach. That's a real teacher, and bring your children along. See, you talking about some Allah, you talking about some Muhammad. Ain't no Muhammad. It ain't nowhere in no holy book that you have no picture of Muhammad. That's Muhammad right there. This is the only begotten son. This is the Son of God right here. This is the Son of God right here. Do y'all know what y'all looking at? Do y'all know what y'all looking at? Y'all see all those aerials and all that? And all those astrological signs? There you go, right there. I'll break it in science to show you how the 12 astrological signs can be pertaining to the so-called 12 disciples. And when I say every constellation have 12 deacons, when Moors just like to use catchphrases, but don't understand the science and can't make it manifest in their life. And then I say, well, what is above is below. Break that down into your life. Show me that your body is matching to what's above and below. Show me. And then show me that. And then break the analogy and the parables down so you connect yourself to the atmosphere. And I'll wait. Because we caught up in mysticism. We're supposed to understand the Gnostic and the mysticism, but we don't get caught up in that goofy stuff because we rise above it. You see? When Moore's telling you falseness, but they ain't studying it. They say they have it, but I know they ain't having it. They're going on certain pages, posting covers of books. I'm telling you, I deal with the science. I deal with the science. I don't deal with the character. I don't deal with the figure. Because one thing about science and supreme mathematics, man, you can cross that to history. It's the wisdom. And people getting caught up in the figures. We don't do that. So I'm showing y'all wisdom that y'all need, that I have, that I print on my printing press. When it like the Akashic records. The Akashic records. I hope you know what the Akashic records are. When I tell Moors that there ain't no consular courts, that these Moors going around talking about they nationalized people under some Moorish American consulate, under some MAC number, and I told you that's fraud, and you see what happened to them? They went straight to jail. Let me read something to you. I'm going to read it right to you. Scholarship at Cornell Law, a digital respiratory. Watch this. The treaty between the United States and Morocco gives to the Council of the former exclusive jurisdiction in disputes amongst the citizens of the United States, and in criminal cases, it is provided by the 21st article of the same treaty, which reads as follows: if a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country takes place, and equal justice shall be rendered. Did y'all hear what that said? So off top, a Moor and a citizen is two different things if you understand the duality of law, if you proclaim who you are. But see, stuff be going over Moors' heads, and you think somebody done printed you some ID at home and ain't part of nothing, that you think they made you free. You still the same Negro you was before you got that card. No disrespect to no one. I'm just being honest. But the law of the country takes place, and the equal justice shall be rendered. Moors, I'll be telling y'all simple things you must do to correct yourself. If somebody did you wrong, you don't get rid of the evidence. I tell Moors every day, you're not changing nothing. You're not changing your government name. You're not changing the name that your mother or your father gave you at birth. You're annexing your being, your L, your freedom, because a lot of Moors still confused about the civic side of it and the nationality side. You're supposed to correct all your paper from the government, which is your right. And if more, and I tell you, Moors are confused on navigating, because when they go do certain things, they get turned away, and I be laughing. Nobody should get turned away. The Jew don't get turned away. The Arab, the fake Arab, no disrespect, don't get turned away. The Indian, they all have their religious suffix. But Moors going down there because they don't know the law and they don't know the truth, and they get turned around by some manager or some clerk. And y'all know I'm telling the truth. And don't know your rights and don't know your freedoms. That's connect to it. You're not changing nothing. You're correcting. You are correcting. You don't need to have no application to correct something. You got an application to correcting, yes, but you ain't changing nothing. My name's still Kareem Hakeem Goodman. I annex my bay. Plain and simple. The council assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the council shall be answerable for him in any matter whatsoever. Let's keep going. Of course, I show y'all how the temple was set up. So all these Moors be lying and talk about some affidavit, talk about some 1010 or some trust. That's a lie. And I print the letter and I show y'all, I tell y'all every time how the CCRD, how people just be lying. And I say, man, they a liar. So why would you follow a person that flat out lied to you? Talk about the 1010 number is some damn trust fund. And I done showed y'all millions of times, like, that's a lie. It ain't no trust fund. I got the letter right here in 26 from 2016 when the so-called sheiks, no disrespect. And when I say, when a person says something, I'm a scholar. I know how to research everything. So don't come to me. I don't get caught up in no figure. If you a liar, you a liar. I don't give a damn if you a young liar or old liar. An old liar was a young liar. Sheikh Lonel Love L. Sheikhus Molat D Love L. Moorish Science Temple of America. I read this a million times. I read this to y'all a million times. People talk about this. Let me say. You say watch this. I'm gonna read 7. Is the office aware that the unauthorized issuance and collections of funds resulting from said issuance constitutes a breach of registry fiduciary duty as custodians, criminals, fraud, embezzlement? Response. This is what the CCRD telling these, man, I'm finna say something, but whatever. Your position is legally and factually incorrect. Please see the relevant statutory authority reference above. In some of your correspondence, you indicate that the CCRD has refused to file certain real estate and non-real estate related documents and index them under Trust 1010-5905. To be clear, document 1010-5905 is not a trust document. This document is simply an affidavit of organization under the Religious Corporation Act. What this means is that the document serves as a record that the Moorish Science Temple of America is organized, incorporated as a religious corporation under the Religious Corporation Act. The CCRD is not a trustee of any trust or trust assets maintained by or for the benefit of the MSTA. That responsibility lies with the MSTA. With who? Them lying Negroes that's lying to you. You talk about you a trustee? Well, wait, you got to have something to trust. I keep telling y'all. They keep talking about some polygon at the end of the rainbow. If you are having difficulty recording certain documents in our office, please refer to the recording requirements referenced in the legal authority cited above. Finally, you indicated that you would like the MSTA to place employees in the CCRD for various purposes. State law clearly indicates that you have no authority to demand that you employ members of your congregation in our office when these Moors become with this fake ass law. I say, man, they don't know state, local, federal. They getting you all out of jurisdiction. When I had to tell one more before he got his butt handed to him, I said, man, you finna go in this arena, and in the arena of law, there's no excuse of not knowing the law. When you go in there and talk about driving with or without an operator's license, it's not no international law. That's local and state, and you better know why that's happening. If not, you can be contempt court, especially going in there playing. And see, this the letter. I ain't even want to read it all in its entirety. This the letter. I just told you. I show y'all, because if Moors was really part of the temple, they'd be talking like me, and they'd be giving y'all the science, showing you exactly how the temple was set up and the power our prophet was doing when he established the temple as a civic organization and then a religious organization, because he knew it took your nationality and your spirituality to be a complete 5/5. I'm telling you, man. And then people that's trying to bilk y'all out of stuff like they can nationalize you and make you something. Our prophet did all the work. We supposed to take it to the next level. That's it. The house is being built. The furniture is in it. All Moors got to do is follow the teachings and continue to lead. That's why I said most Moors that's going to teach Moorish science, they're not going to teach you the right way. It's no disrespect. I ain't here to try to get you to do something stupid. I ain't never told you I'm going to print you no fake card or go file some stupid ass paperwork and go down there begging somebody on your own. I ain't never told you to do that. I give you the real laws. See? And here go the letter right here. This was July 8th, 2016. I'm telling you, people just be lying to y'all. People be lying to y'all, just making stuff up, and people be believing it. And you talk about some white man. Excuse my candor. I got ancient documents, the all-seeing eye, and its symbols in Freemasonry. When people be giving our science to other people, and I'm like, this is our science. I will show you. I'm telling you, I will show you in ancient manuscripts, especially how I show you connecting things. No science came from the West. I'll start showing you all ancient stuff, how all the science, when Moors be thinking Freemasonry came from some European, I'll show you this stuff is way before any European person. No disrespect to nobody. No disrespect. No disrespect. But we take stuff what people be saying and run with it with no factual proof. And if I say, if that's valid, why you think they wear the fez in clandestine? Why you think these Negro Masons wear the fez in clandestine? Because they bury you in a shallow grave and they ain't going to tell you that this science come from you. But they get you caught up with the outside. The zodiac and the sauce of salvation. See, I said, Mom, this is the stuff that I teach you when I say we have the science. I have a whole library. The 7 seals, a practical occult experience. See, yeah, we supposed to know all this. We study all the signs and symbols where we don't get caught up in any religious dogma to where we miss the essence. I'm telling you, that's why I say I study it all. I know where Moors be coming from. That's why a Moor can't pull no wool over my eyes. When the person be trying to act like they something, I said an adept, a true and adept, everybody not sick in the same manifestation. So nobody's not going to come with no garbage thinking they just read some book and then they going to think it manifests. Man, stop playing. That's why I said I done been in this too long. I don't have no fake titles, no adept. I don't have no fake titles, no adept. I have real degrees in college and in the real world, and it do make a difference. And in metaphysics, and I'm part of the Philosophical Research Society. When I be telling Moors, when I break stuff down, when Moors don't understand the symbology, when I show you in the biblical scriptures how what herbs was used for, what a lot of things was used for, and Moors don't know anything. When I break things down, when I say, how can you be an adept and you don't know what I'm talking about? Because all this stuff come from one source. And then when I break my big Egyptian manual script, I'm gonna pull it out. That's how I know Moors is not an adept, because they twisting the teachings and they don't understand nothing. And I tell Moors, y'all need to be students, because a lot of this is gonna be shut down. I'm telling you, I'm flavored on all sides. I don't diss any science. I'm everywhere where wisdom is. Moors don't know how to synchronize it. I'm down with every teacher that brought righteousness and wisdom. Because when you start studying, you will see it synchronized. Remember I was telling y'all about one of the ancient books that cost a lot of people keep away from a person? I got all 3 volumes. Y'all see that? Y'all see what that is? Y'all see what that say right there? Y'all see that? This is one of the 5 most, they call powerful books that they want to say. I promise you, I got all 3. I'm telling you, so I know the games people play. I know the games people play. Watch this. Hold on, boys. See, Moorish just be making up stuff, talk about they went through some adapt chamber. And I say, well, show me what your adapt chamber is all about. You don't have none of the science. Y'all see this right here? Y'all see this big manuscript right here? Y'all see this big manuscript right here? This how I know Moorish be playing. They ain't initiated nothing. I keep telling you, you're supposed to be initiated in your brotherhood. You're supposed to be. You should. If not, you a shade tree mechanic. You don't know how to write the manual. You don't know how to show nobody how to do nothing. You are a shade tree mechanic. You're not a master mechanic. That's how I know when Moors be on their lower self. And then I know Moors don't read because they can't comprehend the wisdom. It's been synchronized. All the rituals from the Book of the Living Forth, all of the science that's synchronized. The Moors be dissing something, and I say it all comes from a source. Every so-called ugly, or how can I say it, animal figure is nothing but a pious hieroglyph. That's all. And these is some of the adapt, and this is the initiate when you get into the higher science. We talk about the adept. We talk about the Egyptian adept, the prophet and the angel. When you know the science and you can exhume it and you connect yourself to nature. All manifestations in America, in Europe, in Asia. And then we get into the sacred magic of Abraham the Magi, volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. And if more is under the right auspices, you'll be like everybody just hijacked your science and tried to change the verbiage. Just like Aleister Crowley tried to change your science. Just like Adam Blavatsky, she tried to change your science, but she gave credit to the Moors and the sheiks and the sages. She did do that. Just like Pascal Beverly Randolph, stolen legacy. When I be telling y'all, Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, stolen legacy. That's why European Masons and Negro Masons are only 32 and 33 degrees, because they wasn't able to get to the higher science. That's why their feds and their tassel is pinned down. But that's a whole nother teaching. But I'll show you how Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, how they teach our kids in school, talk about some Greek gods, and it ain't nothing but stolen legacy, period. And I'll prove that through with scholarship. We print the books. The book I was telling y'all about, Peter Lambert Wilson, The Sacred Drift. Look who on the cover there, our prophet. Look on the cover there, Peter Lambert Wilson, Sacred Drift. And you see how the Europeans talk about it. And I say, Moors have no idea what our prophet did. Have no idea, because they're not connected. Because you're not connected to nothing. What's this right here? Oh, the Golden Age of the Moors by Ivan Van Cernema. We print these on our print press. All my elementary student got these. My elementary students. And they be laughing. They be like, Noble, yeah, I see why you're saying you're going to get out the States and just be gone and teach. But I'm trying to do something for us. I'm trying to tell students to come together. I need Moors to be students. Everyone to be students and teach and learn. That's what we're supposed to do. And then I start connecting that science. I start showing you the synchronicity of holy books and things, for you can get that hate out of your system, because we need to get that out. I'm telling you, we need to get that out. But I wanted to just share a little bit of the science, man. I said, that ain't even nothing. Because when we teach in Moorish science, especially on Sunday school, you should have your Quran, your Quranic studies, all the science books that go with it that I know Moors don't have. And then brothers say they Moors, and I said, okay, well, being a Moorish American is a part of self-identifying. And then you say you're a Moor and you don't even have a fez, and you won't even be humble enough to get one from us. It's laughable to me. So I want to just brief on a little law, because it's civics today. I want to brief on a little law, because we must do this today. So we got a little time, and after today, more should be clear. Y'all should be clear. But contrary to the miseducation that a lot of Moors got, the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 did not free a single Negro, black, or colored slave from the legally binding slave laws of 1779. Y'all knew that, right? Right, Moors? Of the United States Constitution under that 3/5 clause. Y'all know what that 3/5 clause was, Moors? This is how we learn. Do y'all know what that 3/5 clause was, Moors? This is how we learn. Because the person that say yeah or say amen or say Islam and no, they don't understand. If you understand, then you can defend yourself instead of just talking and being a law. And then help other people correct themselves. And then we come together as a body. So, do Moors understand the Constitution and the 3/5 clause? Do we know what the 3/5 clause consists of, Moors? I'm talking about fully. Do we know what the 3/5 clause consists of? Yes or no? Yes or no, Moors? Come on, talk to me, man. We live. Because this is how we learn. If we was in school, once we get the temple out here and Moors being in the temple and we going over study, we haven't studied, I'm asking people questions. I'm going to be asking everybody questions. That's why I tell Moors, don't be afraid, because I'm going to call on you. So do anybody know? Tori Simpson Bay said, I don't know. Tori Simpson Bay, you should know. You got to know, especially if you got the Bay next to your name, Bay, Brother Bay. I'm telling you, you have a Bay next to your name. You got to know, Brother Bay. And it's no excuse. This is what I'll be telling Moors. You must know, and you must be willing to know. You must be willing to connect with a brother that's doing it or an empress that's doing it. If not, what is your purpose? But we got to be willing to covenant. We got to be willing to put our mouth and our money and our pride and our ego exactly in check. That's why I be saying, how can a Bay, and I'm not saying you specifically, Noble. Reason why I say that I'm hurt today, because a lot of these temples is not teaching our brothers and our sisters and the babies. And I say, well, we talking about law. We talking about the 3/5 clause. What anybody else? And I want to give honors to Brother Bay for even being honest, saying he don't know. That's why I said I can rock with people that say they don't know. What I have a issue with is people that know they don't know, but won't admit they don't know, and not willing to know and find out for themselves, and then present themselves as knowing. That's the problem I have. And then when your brother come and ask you check and we start checking the teachings, because you should be able to be corrected and checked with love, especially if a brother said they a bait and an adept. Right then, you should be able to get right with that person and build. And see, this is the thing. And I said, I know more as be part of the temple that they don't know it. They talk about, and they sheiks talk about, oh, I'm dealing with civics. How are you dealing with civics and you don't know this law that I'm talking about? It's other people on here. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to talk to me. Don't just sit up there and behind the screen. If Moors was in here with class, if Moors was in class right now, and I called on you, and you've been under these study, and I've been saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over, and I test you, and the first question is on the test is, what's the 3/5 clause? If you don't know that, you should be like, man, I don't know what this means. You should be writing notes. I'm trying to show Moors how to think. I'm trying to resurrect us mentally, because we should have been out of physical slavery. We still in mental slavery. So come on, Moors. Come on, do everybody. Thank you. And see, I love when people come with the right vibration. You said, this is my purpose here, to become a master. Noble, but you must be a student first. This is what I be telling Moors, and no disrespect to you. See, it's the proper words. Remember, that's like the story of the Sphinx And the riddle, it's a lot of things a person going to tell the person vibration. I'm still a student. Yeah, people might give me titles, but I'm still a student because I'm continuing learning every day. So it's the teachings. You must be under the right auspices and be willing to be a student first, not just watching films, not just going on YouTube thinking you learning, willing to build, willing to be, because Moorish science and Islamism is a real holistic thing. This is an esoteric and exoteric. Once a person become a master, then what? See, these are the questions. Once a person become a master, then what? We want to have, well, I'm a master. And I say, what's a master? You want to be over some people? And I'm not talking to you specifically. When I say, what? You want to be over some people? And once you become a master, then what? See, these are titles that man give man. I'm still a student. I didn't give myself these titles. And that's what I'm saying. I would never give myself a title. That's why I say I'm Kareem Hakeem Goodman Bey. But yes, I have titles. I have certain hats I wear. Just like when I'm at work, I'm a boss. When I'm at home, I'm a husband and a son. Those are titles. Those are titles. But when we're talking about thinking we can read a whole bunch of books to say I'm gonna become a master, then what are we gonna be able to extract? Because I know a lot of masters that's poor and broke to this day. I know people that graduated from Harvard University living on the streets right now because they thought they were so smart and they thought they were so a master and they done outslick themselves. And they alone. So what do we want to become a master to do? That's what I'm saying. We're supposed to be a body, a village. We're supposed to acquire these skills and love upon our people, not to bury them in a shallow grave. That's why I ask particular questions to see a person's motive. Because say once a person got a deal, we're going to go in the shell. That ain't what it's about. A person get $1 million and say, I'm straight, and move to a damn island. Once we start bringing in $1 million, the majority of it is going to do business. We're going to have a community. It only take a little bit to sustain me because I'm successful. And the head should be sustained, but the rest should be going out to do ministry, to bring our people, to have our own community, to teach our babies, which the law say we can. So that's why I'm saying, how can a Moor say they are a Moor and an adept and have certain science and they don't understand the 3/5 clause? I understand that, but that's the tittle of it. That's a tittle of it. That's a tittle of it. That's a tittle of it. So let's finish. But however, not the same can be said of the 13th Amendment of 1865. And then the next question I asked more is, do y'all know the entirety of the 13th Amendment of 1865? Most more be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I say, I know. So why are we not willing to be educated by our own brother? But we are sending our kids to all these schools and be taught by somebody else. We go to universities that they won't teach you from real history. They teach you a westernized perspective, which is a pseudo academia. And then when your brother have the degrees and been through the fire, we won't come and learn and be part of the organization and donate. See, that's sad to me. And then we'll come on and talk all that stuff and we'll send our kids to be educated and taught by somebody else. And then they be dummies before they went in. I know, and that's what I'm saying. And we should know. Every Moor that say they are Moor and they follow and they study in Moorish science too, but you should know it all. You should have it. You should have all the law books. You should have this. For you can know, that's the only way you're going to know. How are you going to defend yourself under the laws? Are you going to listen to some goofball to get you caught up in some fake ID? See this, the first of the 3 Reconstruction Amendments. Don't y'all know these were Reconstruction Amendments, Moors? They did, in fact, abolish the institution of slavery, Moors, which opened the doors of freedom to all African descents in North America. Damn right I'm always a student. I don't give myself these titles. See, I can tell more. This is just like in martial arts. In martial arts, when you go to martial arts, you be like, okay, I think I know enough. I'm a master. Are you just anointing yourself? Because if that's the case, that's political. That's that garbage. That's that garbage. That's why I said the teachings. Moors ain't following their teachings. Oh, so we go this just like martial arts. Oh, I'm a black belt. Man, a black belt mean now you ready to learn. Now you ready to learn. Now you reach the higher wisdom. Now you able to teach. But when Moors talk about they want to be a master of what? Make no mistake about it, Moors. The 13th Amendment was the greatest and only document of manumission. Do y'all know what manumissions is? I've been saying this stuff over and over and over. That's why I said a lot of Moors going to fall with the Titanic. No disrespect. Why don't you want a liberator? Why wouldn't you want somebody that'll resurrect you? Your own Messiah, your brother that look like you. They got y'all thinking of some fake image sitting on the throne. That's the problem. And God works through man. Allah works through man. What are we thinking? What are we thinking, man? Do y'all know what manumission really mean? Do any more know what manumission consists of? Yes or no? Any more? Yes or no? And don't even try to look it up right now, because this is not the time to try to look it up. The time right now is to write the notes and just respond and write words down for study. Because a lot of stuff we should know, because I've been saying this for a long time. That's why I said, man, we confusing ourselves, because I'm not here for entertainment. I'm here to educate. So do we know what manumissions consist of, Moors? Yes or no? Come on, man. Yes or no, Moors? Do we? That's a quick yes, that's a quick no, that's a quick maybe. Thank you. Anybody else? It's more than the brother Dan on here. It's a plethora of people. That's why I said once we had a temple and more is coming, we all in there studying. Thank you. And I've been saying, what have I been teaching forever? Come on, it's plenty more is on here. That's why I said, as a teacher, as a Buddha, as an adept, as a leader, you continue to teach, and you teach over and over and over till our people get it. That's what I'm saying. You can't fake this. And more are walking around playing and faking. You can't fake this, man. You can't fake your way to know master, know adept, and Moors don't know. And all this stuff I'm saying is lower level science. What I'm saying is elementary. It's more Moors on here. Because when some more, this is an excuse when you hear some fake sheik. Oh, I deal with civics. Well, civics is law and history. Civics is law and history. You should be well versed in law and history. All law, international, local, state, federal, all history, all dispensations. Or how can you say you're an adept? Come on, anybody else? Do y'all know what manumissions are? I know we might be trying to look it up right now, but now it's not the time to try to look it up. Write the word down. Because if you, thank you. And this is what I'll be saying is like, come on, why we don't know this? Because we're not being educated, and we're going to sit up here and let somebody print us some fake IDs. And if you would know the law in its entirety, you would be calling them out as frauds. I'll keep telling y'all, man, a lot of people are getting ready to go to jail for a long time. A lot of people are already there. You are looked at as a domestic terrorist. You are looked at as a domestic terrorist right now, today. So how Moors don't know what manumissions consist of, Moors? Why we don't know this? And Moors walking around with the feds on, all they talking about all this Islam and all this, posting all this stuff, and they don't know these basics to freedom. So what are we doing? We playing, because this is civics. You see what I be saying? Moors should be willing to be a student. Moors should be willing to be a student. That's why I said a lot of them I'm getting ready to do. Our webpage, our website is almost done. It should be done. We got to work out some kinks. I got to do some stuff. So when Allah's will, it's going to be up in a couple months, and I won't be doing any more teachings live. Every member and student have to go on our webpage. Because I told y'all, I'm trying to build a community. I ain't here for nobody just to be piggybacking. That's what I'm saying. I can sit down with a group of Moors that think they know something and then won't admit they don't know nothing. And they all will lead you to damnation. That's the problem, because we don't want to be a part of nothing. Everybody want to be a master. No disrespect to nobody. And there's plenty of people on here, and they won't admit what they are. That's why I said Moors to come on the page and won't speak. And then when I'm teaching, because if you was at the temple, I ask you individually, manumission. Just how it sound, manumission. I told y'all, man, I'm gonna educate y'all, man. This is elementary stuff. I'll get some of the elementary kids that'll stand strong and break all the laws down and have you in awe. But it's the greatest and only document of manumission ever to be enacted by the Congress of the United States. And that's a true fact. That's right. Months. I know Moore's been following me for a year. And then the first thing they talk about, they don't have no finance. And the first thing they talk is this and all that. That's the first thing they be talking about. I'm like, man, you do have it. I tell Moore, I've been telling Moore, I said, what was it, $5 a day for what? 52 days. That was the $250, and it's all a donation. You get your fizz and all your books, and then $100 a month is our membership due. That's $5 a day for 20 days. And then I said, Moorish, you can still give a donation when I'm teaching because it all goes to the storehouse. And then I tell Moorish, y'all can get books from me. You're not buying nothing. It's a donation. Moorish are not understanding. I don't hide nothing from nobody. But although the 2 sections ratified were just watered down versions of the 20 sections originally proposed, just 1 section was needed to free all African descents from their mental slavery and the constitutional bond of the United States. But after the day in 1865, when the 2 section passed on the 13th original 20, it only took 1 of those to free all the slaves from the U.S. nook and cranny. I'm telling you. See? You got to remember that the United States has never been without its slaves, and it's a vital ingredient to understanding factual American history, but it's not often used by most historians. And then you got these Moors calling themselves teachers. How? Chic of what? It must also be remembered for the only time in her history that the U.S. ratified 3 major bodies of law into its constitution, which concerned her love parcels. Y'all better research what a parcel consists of. These 3 Reconstruction Amendments were written in the exclusive interest of slaves, ex-slaves, and all other Negroes only. I'm going to show y'all later in these teachings the word Reconstruction. In that context, what it meant. It was used to identify the upgrading of slavery, more than so downloading the post-war America into a Reconstruction period. Oh, thanks for the donation, Noble. Cash App $ KGB. Islam. But both of these political movements took place at the conclusion of the Civil War, but is later, which most people assume, indicative of what was actually being reconstructed. Oh, one of my nobles, I got something else. He like, and we won't give a donation to what Noble's saying. What you say, Moore? And he like, and Moors go to these temples and giving these sheiks these money, and we just paying in the pocket. And when a Noble's speaking, we won't give a donation, a $5, a $10 donation every time he speak. Hey, that's why I said in a minute, a lot of this is going to be done. I come on here for the people. I don't ask nobody to say, hey, my web page is, our YouTube page is free. Anybody can come on here. And that's why I said all we ask for is a donation. That's it. Whatever, $5, $1, anything. I don't tell a person what. I say if you like what we're doing and you being illuminated and you being taught, it ain't worth nothing for you. If you say it ain't nothing but fiat, it ain't nothing. That'll help somebody else get a piece of literature. That'll help me help somebody else and put literature in their hands. Islam. Thanks for the donation, Noble. That's all I'll be saying. It's like, come on, man. We'll go to the movies and be all entertained, but when we being taught by your own brother that take the time and do this, and all he ask for a donation, I say more. Send a donation, whatever literature you want. I'll tell you what the donation is. I put all the literature in your hand. We've been going to schools and knowing the teachers lied to them. You ain't say, teacher, you lying. I need the real. Give me something that to compare to this. No. And we went through all that like we knew something. You know? I don't know who that was, but I got to delete that. Let me see. I got to delete this person. Like I said, I don't play games with people that jump on the page and say stupid stuff, you know, or no disrespect. And I know it be trolls, but nobody will never shake me and get me caught up in no garbage. I know goofy people. They'll hide themselves, but they don't know. My IT guy, just like Big Brother, just like the satellite here, like this is where the person stayed. This the garbage they talking. He like they can say anything they want to, but they better be careful because boom, once my IT guy he pull up everybody's address and be like, this is who the person is. This is where the side person go. This is where they go to work every day. I'd be like, dang. He'd be like, watch the satellite camera. I can show you right in front of their porch. I said, damn, in the real time. So that's why I don't say nothing. I just laugh. People thinking they undercover on the internet trolls. And I say, man, you're not undercover. You on a wavelength, man. Anybody can pick you picking up on towers. And then a good IT guys, they can run your computer. One of my IT guys, he in Michigan. Anytime my computer mess up, he log on, my access be controlling my computer and everything. And he said, no, but just write their names down, and then I'll show you whoever they are. I'll show you I had a big brother satellite right in front of their porch. I'm like, damn, the same way the feds do. So I ain't worried about, I don't get caught up in no garbage or no heckler. That's all I call them is hecklers. Care about no damn heckler. But let's finish the teachings, man. But where we at? Okay, but yeah, we're gonna talk about Reconstruction later, man. And a lot of things that was happening took place at the conclusion of the Civil War, you know? And it's the later which most people assume that things were reconstructed or changed, but it was just shifted. Without the enslavement of the indigenous people of the West Africa, these laws would have never been ratified into existence. You see what I'm saying? So in order to understand why the 13th and the 14th and the 15th Amendment particularly are pertaining to America, damn, that was quick, Noble. Wow. Hey, look, I should show you who this person is, but I ain't gonna do it because I won't do that. He done got to do address, everything. And I said, I told y'all, man, anytime you jump on the internet, ain't nothing private. What you are, a willing obligor. That means all your information is free. I'm telling you. I guarantee you that was super fast. But anyway, yeah. But in order to understand why the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments, particularly as pertaining to America, slaves and ex-slaves, and as granted privileges, as opposed to rights, we need to focus briefly on what prompted their ratifications. And this enlightenment is necessary because most U.S. citizens would be fooled into believing that the U.S. actually surrendered her slaves with no strings attached. And this is in the law. This is the Free Information Act. This is no spookism. This is world history. This is what we teach in world. This is world history. Our prophet Ali, Noble Ali told us, even a fish would not take the bait, knowing the hook was hidden there. Remember, America is totally unknowledgeable of being a slaveless government and slavery Moors, especially chattel slavery. When we talk about the machination of a Maya people, have y'all ever heard of that or understand that? The machination of a Maya people? Yes or no, Moors? And especially my Moors that go to temples. Have any Moors ever educated y'all on that history and that science? What our prophet taught about? The machination of a Maya people? Have any Moors ever been illuminated on that science? Yes or no? See? You see what I'm saying, y'all? You see what I'm saying? But we should. This all elementary science. See, we should. This all elementary, y'all. So what are we doing? So what's the really part? Why don't we want to come together? See? But has always been a divine issue. And the average time any nation has to suffer any type of slavery, mental, whatever, is about 400 years. That is the duration of physical bondage. And this was no exception to the enslavement of the West Coast Africans by the, no disrespect again when we teach, by the pale-skinned nations of Europe from 1492 to 1865. It's 373 years. And although U.S. slavery was only opposed by a few during Abe Lincoln's presidency, if you really know the history and you really have the true Abraham Lincoln letters instead of just posting propaganda, the historically versed knew the time was nigh for their emancipation. And Abraham Lincoln, Moors, as a man, did not care whether the Africans were freed or remained in slavery. In fact, Moors, the Emancipation Proclamation was such a perfect hoax of executive power that there are people during that time period, during that dispensation, and then we add 140 years later that still believe it freed the slaves. And Lincoln, like most politicians, used his knowledge of history as a platform for his acquired office. The broader their historical base, the stronger their political race. Abraham Lincoln knew history and knew it well from the world's leading history books, especially when we talk about the Bible. When I say Moorish, y'all got to break that science down. Stop dissing stuff, especially the book of Deuteronomy, the Leviticus codes. So how can you take stuff and say on the Liberty Bell and then try to diss something? Abraham Lincoln knew about the Leviticus codes, which dealt with systems of slavery. And at this time, it will do well to point out today's so-called enslavement mentally of so-called Africans was strongly supported by 3 of the world's 4 major religions. Then y'all know that? The Buddhist, the Hindu, Confucius was the only religions. That's why we give honor to certain prophets, because they were the only religious order except from the modern enslavement of the right-skinned people, no disrespect, of continental Africa. And this is by no means suggest that the hands of India are innocent of Africans' slave trade. Just like we talk about the Arab slave trade in a particular dispensation. Just like we could talk about the Spanish Inquisition in a particular part of history. Just like we could talk about the doctrine of discovery in a particular part of history and really deal with some history. Especially when their history has been stained by the world's foremost African slaves, the slavers of that time, which were the pale Arabs, no disrespect to nobody, who are the Siddhas of India, Jews of all people, and Muslims with support of the Christians, all with their holy books in hand, marked over 500 million Africans from 1092 to this present day. The public awareness of these religions with their participation in the African slave trade will begin to end during Lincoln's presidency. And Mr. Lincoln said, there must be an inferior and a superior. I, as much as any man, am in favor of superior being assigned to the white race. Most Bible thumpers at that time were deeply convinced that they were doing God's will to enslave the so-called black race. But the odd thing about this is what they who label all Africans black in the first place. But the state of mind must not be forgotten, although it's oftentimes it is, and unthinkable to the Negro, black, and colored today. And there are many people in high places today that feel just as strongly about subjugation Africans as they were 150 to 200 to 400 years ago. How I say Abraham Lincoln knew about laws? Because Abraham Lincoln was a lawyer before he was the president. He defended the Moor in court. That's how I'm telling y'all. He was like, just because my client's kin is black doesn't mean he's a Negro, black, and colored. He's a Moor. I'm telling you. Everything about the White House is set up after the Ottoman Empire. From the flowers that grow, everything. I'll pull out all Thomas Jefferson Qurans. I'll show y'all all this. That's why the us of this subtitle referring to the corporate United States of America, when I use the phrase, if you understand the context, I don't know what happened. It just popped off, but that's what happens. That's the internet, but oh well. But when we say, let us make a citizen, when you see the U.S. in certain things, when I tell Moors, you have to read everything. You have to have a fine teeth. You must have a particular skill in things, and nothing will fly over your head, and you won't be caught up with linguistic apartheid. But the us of the subtitle referred to corporate United States of America, assumed by many persons to be a sovereign, independent power. And the constitutional concept and interpretation of a citizen did not derive its authoritative powers from the Declaration of Independence, Moors, of the original 13 United States of America. And in the course of human events, they discovered that a person was bound by the laws of nature and nature's God, that they held these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal, and their creator endows them with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, the right to live, liberty, the right to be free, and the pursuit of happiness, the right to be content, found it, the right to be content, found it, don't mess with me. The totality of these rights became the Bill of Rights, The U.S. Constitution was written by the people and for the people. These laws established by freedom and free men were from living souls who are sovereigns from the wombs of their mothers. U.S. citizens, on the other hand, are belligerents in the field and are subject to jurisdictions, Washington, D.C., and all U.S. citizens are 14th Amendment persons, which are property, implemented by the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which was originally established to disguise the newly freed slaves. Research it, and then with a fine pen. The only problem was that the European political powers of those days dug a shallow grave of fiend censory for the ex-slaves, and they later fell into it themselves. This is why to this day, if the Americans actually knew what a so-called, in this context, what I'm saying, a U.S. citizen, I'm telling y'all, a U.S. citizen, I hope y'all, I didn't say USA, I'm telling y'all, it's certain things that you must understand. Was according to their law, they wouldn't want to be no so-called U.S. citizen. And what most people fail to realize is during the drafting of the great document, no disrespect, European men aged 21 were the only people recognized in America. Research it. That's why I tell you a lot of stuff is wrapped up in their westernized masonry. Women, other nationalities, and slaves were not considered as whole persons or people, at least not with rights that the pale-skinned man had to respect. It takes a number of persons to make a people, as was written in Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. Research it. The word person was summarized into fifths, and 5/5 made one complete person. Research it. This person, as endowed by the Creator and the laws of nature, was declared the whole number and a free person. This endowment, the totality of fifths, made Moorish, made a complete and perfect person, and subsequently a citizen. When the USA was first formed under the Constitution, its sovereignty was for and by the people, mankind. The word person was used by the people to describe their property, business, and fictional beings. Persons gave their life to corporate America oaths, affidavits, notaries, and self-incriminating pro se used by straw men. I'm telling you, Masonic members of the Moorish Science Temple are moved by the words, I am a citizen of the USA. I keep telling y'all, but you must be educated on things to navigate the right way. I'm telling you. You got to know law. You got to know what law really consists of. Yet out of all that order, out of chaos, out of a free Masonic rule of Washington, D.C., corporate United States of America, all that. Yet for those who know law, our Prophet Noble Drew Ali and other like myself and other adept and true historians, it's a much difference between sovereigns and citizens. Y'all got to know that. As the X, right? As certain amendments. When I talk about amendments, freeborns and bond servants, Moorish Americans and Negroes, church members, or unalienable rights and inalienable privileges. Didn't I show y'all in the consular courts that you were recognized as a Moor? Didn't I read that to y'all a second ago, Moors? And a person be talking about, well, where is this history of Moors and this and that and the other? When you got people talking about black mean Moor, no, it don't, because the science and law, in that perspective, black mean death. Here go to consular courts. This 1893 scholarship I gave y'all, and I read the treaty between the United States and Morocco, give to the council of the former exclusive jurisdiction, blah, blah, blah. If a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor. Come on, man. So you're not going to, the laws tell you who you are. Right, Moors? If the assumable citizens of the USA only knew the true legal definition of citizen, they would be tickled to the highest of tictivity and would never want to be a citizen again. The true 5/5 components of a natural person. That's why I said I got to do this over and over and over. I ain't even jumped into the teachings. I'm just setting the highlight. The 5/5 components of a natural person: spirit, the indestructible God essence in man, soul, actions of the mind, powers, thinking, reasoning, willing, understanding, body, flesh, human vehicle made of the earth, often indigenous of the land of birth, nationality, the descendant birth, attachment through an especial nation of tribe, free national name, lineage and identity, creed, religious path of God consciousness, established through forefathers, vine and fig tree, right? Reading your Moorish Quran, belief, faith, and fruition in your Moorish Quran, chapter 7, 25 to 31. So to attempt to remove in whole or part, one or more fifth from any man is a conscious act known as what? Is a conscious act known simultaneously as both what? A sin or a crime. When I tell y'all, these fake Moors can't do none of that. Hey, Noble, I hope you study a little bit more. No disrespect. I hope we go deeper and deeper into our teachings, because we gotta peel back and continue to peel back. A Moor thing, just because they hit something, I'm like, it's more. And when a Moor show their hand, then you will show your hand, then you got to defend yourself. And I'm like, I hope a person, when they say statements, I say, will you stand on that and valid and defend yourself? Because if you would, a Moor would have been corrected themselves already. They would have went, if the law said, why haven't we corrected ourselves? That's what I'm saying. So if that's what it is, so a person can believe what they want. I'm not here to debate nobody. Right? Ironically, Moors, the United States judicial system marks this as a violation of a federal crime and is known throughout the U.S. courts as denationalization. The irony in this crime is that it is committed manually by every state since the 14th Amendment became law and then written, state sealed upon the live birth of every freeborn Moorish baby in America. But denationalization is played off on their birth certificate as another Negro, black, and colored baby is born. That's why when I show y'all analogies, a lot of teachers of our prophet, when our prophet talk about the Negro and the sardine, and Moors don't understand, I'm like, well, how? The teachings is old. Beware of lying lawyers. Watch this. When I tell Moors, as soon as they get in trouble, I know so many Moors went got a court-appointed attorney, and the court-appointed attorney telling them they free, and a Negro attorney telling them they free. Garbage. They under the British Anatolian Registry. Watch this. Beware of lying lawyers. Beware of fake Moors that talk about they study law. Any lawyer worth his salt of the bar exam will lie to you and swear on his Bible and declare that blacks are citizens of the USA because the term of the persons of the U.S. Constitution refers to slaves. But the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, and or the Dred Scott decision was replaced by the 14th Amendment, and or the amendments specifically eliminating the 3/5 formula. Prove me wrong. You see? See, a Moor can talk that stuff, but they ain't talking on no real law. You see? A Moor make a video and won't educate no one. You know? What these fair servants of the courts would not tell their clients is that no constitutional laws have never been handed down by Congress to teach back the latter 2/5 necessary to make the free slaves into a whole person. What? No one teaching that, huh? We just gonna sit and argue with people, talk about what this and this, and I say, well, if that's what you know, why you ain't correcting yourself? Because people don't know. We act like we don't know, and we get on here and debate with each other, but we ain't gonna build nothing. A person must be made consciously whole before he can become a citizen. This is what more don't understand. A person must be made consciously whole before he can be a citizen, have the rights of a citizen, and be subject to the jurisdiction of a citizen. Everyone, I do mean everyone, anywhere on this planet Earth, has all 5/5 and are whole, except guess who? The so-called blacks made in America and the SIDDIS of India. Research it. The 13th Amendment abolished physical slavery, but left psychological, mental slavery in full effect. This violates the 2nd, 5th. That's right. That's the only way. It ain't no other way to do it. It ain't nothing else to do. We must use our finances to build and educate, just like everybody else is. But we must be willing to fall under the right auspices. If not, we just talking. The right of mind, the soul of the 5 gifts from the Creator. Speaking of one right mind, it reminds me of how Christianized Negro, Black, and colored would pray to a God. No disrespect. And then they say that God is white. No disrespect. And then they thank him for allowing them to wake up in the morning, clothed in their right mind. But little did they know, Moors, the mind they woke up with and the gods they were presently serving are not their inherently own. That's all. And with the ratification of the 13th Amendment, Moors, the enslavement of human bodies is now legally enforced upon criminals duly convicted as a punishment for crime. And their only crime during that time was being of African descent. Guilty. So the 13th Amendment, Moors, merely closed the door of slavery in the South, which was without power at that time. Right? Right? Moors, President Lincoln also said, "My people do not want them, which are slaves, to become citizens. If it could unite my country without freeing the slaves, I would do that." And he actually expressing a European national sentiment. No true red-blooded American wanted to free slaves. See, this is what you got to know. This is the things that this is history. Although the ratification of the original 13th Amendment, right, with its full body of 20 sections, did not reach fruition, it is still on the utmost important for its historical adjudication before the 1864 U.S. Congress to be known to African descents. Especially because more, I'm gonna tell y'all, the enactment of these laws was all about the emancipation and freedom of their recent forefathers. And 2, when the full Senate vote on passing the 13th Amendment was yeas 38 and nays 7 more, the U.S. slave population was 98% illiterate, and not one of them was present to represent themselves as a people. And now, all these years later, their children of today can read. What's the problem? They can now know what their grandparents could not have known. And that's why I'm giving y'all this information. Can be found in any U.S. Library of Congress, or the 1885 book called The Great Conspiracy by John Logan. Research it. I can give y'all a lot of the proposed original 13th Amendment with the full body of the 20 sections. Y'all should have it. That's why I be saying, I'm like, Moors just be talking. The 14th Amendment, our Prophet Noble Drew Ali warned Moors, and I continue to do that, about the needless powers of the 14th and the 15th Amendments. Our Prophet also taught that Moors, there was no need for the application of the 14th and the 15th Amendments for the salvation of us. I already explained this earlier in the 1865 and the 70 Amendments, right? And have made the determination that the 14th and the 15th Amendments is the sneakiest documents of re-enslavement to have ever been written. If you're in the depth, if you study law, that's why I said there's nothing hidden under the sun. This is free information. The 14th Amendment alone is crippling and devastating until it later transformed every U.S. citizen from ignorant sugar cubes to corporate sheets, known as straw men, within the 60 years of ratification. And the power of the South had been its slaves until losing the Civil War. The 1863 military strategy of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 1870 Negro Voters' Rights Amendment proved the southern states were powerless without slaves. Our prophet teach, just like law revealed, just like I continue to teach, that the 14th and the 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners who were at that time without power. And since the Civil War, Moors, was primarily fought between one brother in blue and the other in gray, and the 14th Amendment was actually a legal settlement or an agreed order, research it, which took slavery from the gray dispensation and spread it to every state throughout the United States of the Blue Republic. Research it. This was the only way both brothers could settle the long-standing grievance about the power of owning and sustaining slaves in America. Tell you, man. So before we get to talking stuff and talk about, oh, I don't agree with it. And I said, what you don't agree with? You don't agree with law and history, things that can be proven. That's why I say Moors operate on their own understanding. And that's a motive. You can't go against law and science unless you got a motive. And the last of the Reconstruction Amendments resulted from the Great Right of Suffrage of 1870. Just like I'll show you analogy when I talk about Southern Belle, just like in the Bible, an analogy of losing your power to vote or suffrage or stripping the power from you is Samson losing his hair. And I'll show you in history, in their papers, how they had the European lady, they called her Southern Belle, and she was clipping the hair of the Asiatic woman. I show this every time. History, I'm telling you, history told in black and white. I reveal this. We don't have to go to nobody for the teachers. I teach the true history. The amendment gave guaranteed voting powers to free male Negro slaves, but it was not because America so loved her only slaves. It gave them the right to vote as all other citizens. Quite the contrary, Moors. I'm telling you, quite the contrary. That's why the Negro, black, and colors will perpetually remain as chattel and without rights. Our prophet Noble Drew told us, and I told us, was the first Moorish council to diagnose the ex-slaves as unattended or unattended victims of mental slavery. And this widespread psyche traumatized, or this traumatization, will largely go without public notice. I'm telling you. We've been looted into a deep sleep in the cradle of colorable nationalities and false sensory. When we talk about out of the pot, Negro, blacks, and colors have become complacent in reading themselves into the Constitution of the United States, which was simply not designed with slaves in mind. And the Negroes and the Moors, they need to ask themselves why certain terms apply to all other nations except them. Where's your embassy? The flag of your land. Describe it. Come on, James, you should know what you mean, slavery 3/5 or not. How can you be a whole and you only a 3/5? It takes your nationality, your spirituality to be a complete fifth. I mean, come on, nobles, right? Does your decent government have a treaty enforced with the USA? Since everyone is deportable except the Indians, right, in history, where is your descendant sovereignty, which will shield you from a genocide? Catastrophic. Hell, back in the dimes, they shipped all the Jamaican Maroons to Nova Scotia. Have you ever read the Constitution of your descent government? What is the name and number of your nation? Who is the ambassador, attaché, the state representative of your nation? Exactly how old is black history? And I tell you, it's as old as slavery in the United States. It ain't real. That's how you don't know your history, because you're looking for your history in some black history. And I'll show you your history is in the dark ages, the medieval time, when we was bringing people out their shallow grave. Actually, along with the black masons and preachers being the last people to accept these truths. So I'll leave you with this part. How to free all Negro, black, and colors? Behind the scene of the U.S. Reconstruction Amendments, now that you have been properly introduced to the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments, the way have been paved to go behind the scene of the laws, which compiled in the infamous shallow grave of Haram Abif, when I taught that about Freemasonry. And a lot of Negro, blacks, and colored convicted felons are going to be pissed after understanding this and tearing down their local law libraries. Some people may be surprised to see the plan that kept ex-slaves holding steadfast to slave names right now. First and foremost, Moors, it's been proven you can no more make a bond citizen out of a Negro, black, and colored than make a Muslim eat swine during a pilgrimage in the holy city of Mecca, Moors. Balance is lawful. History with the United States officially losing its sovereignty in 1871. returning to its original corporate status as when it was just British colonies. And your summation will be simply this, Moors. All crimes committed since 1871 are commercial crimes and cannot be part of any legal proceedings. True constitutional governments do not have nor honor corporate courts because corporations are merely property themselves. And corporate courts cannot proceed or preside over natural persons jurisdictionally. Excuse me. A black political hostage is a state of encompassment. It is the state of unnatural existence that envelops so-called black people, which is seen by the masses, Moors, yet is largely unnoticed due to its obscure definition. And in essence, Moors, this is the state of the colorable, legalized enslavement of a nation of people held here in the United States of America. That's why, in order to reveal this phenomenon, it's necessary to dissect the words black, political, and the words hostage. Black is only a word, not a color, which according to science means death, void of life, absent of life, negative. When I talk about the machination of a Maya people, political, the practice influences of a government, anything pertaining or relating to the policy or administration of a government, state or nation or national, the exercise of the functions vested in those charged with the conduct of a government to control its public policy, the exercising of governmental powers. Hostage, any person, family, tribe, national, or people once free, now captured, usually kidnapped from alien origin, held against his or her will, with their freedom and their life or service to stand as ransom or security. Hostage, Moors, taken in the USA, ironically, is a federal crime. See Title 18 USCA-1203, and nearly always invoke variations of kidnapping status. So technically, Moors, these are polite legal terms to soften the impact of the unlawful taking of human beings realized as an act of kidnapping, enslavement, or is the case of, no disrespect, Moors, European women, white slavery. However, today, it is not considered politically correct to use the root word slave or its attributes when speaking of the USA, although it is commonly referred to as the land of the free and the home of the slave. And this kind of politicized thinking reflects socially unwilling to accept the natural truth. I'm telling y'all, man. The origin of the black political hostage began with the transfer of the slave ownership from the powerless Southerner to the constitutional fold of the government for the restoring of the United States. Are y'all listening? Most people, especially the Negro, Black, and Color, assume that either the Emancipation Proclamation or the 13th and the 14th Amendments freed the slaves and made them citizens. No. These documents enacted during the 5-year period from 1865 to 70 did not free them unconditionally, but merely transferred them as property from one owner to another. Property, you went from chattel, like an animal, to property, person, place, and things, something that can be owned. From the Southern rebellious Confederate states to throughout every state within the Union states. And meanwhile, it is true that the 13th Amendment did in fact abolish the institution of slavery in the U.S. Moors, but however, it is also equal truly that no one told the newly freed people they were now a nation, a nation, a nation, a nation. And this law only brought temporary harmony and satisfaction between the Scottish and the York rights in both the North and the South, when I talk about Freemasonry. And during these 5 years of power consolidation, the productive business of slavery became the most paramount of all political issues. See? You see that, Morris? Simple science. So what's the disagree with history? Why would a person talk about, oh, I don't agree? Because you playing. And the laws, all we must do is defend the Constitution. That's all we must do is defend the Constitution. Because the laws tell us who we are. The laws protect us. Oh, I got 10 minutes. My emperor said, okay. Moors, I'm going to always tell y'all the stuff over and over and over. to teach for you can know. And I'm not here to scare nobody. I'm here to tell y'all that it's just a lot of things that's happening, and Moors think it's free. And they getting away with committing domestic terrorism, because the stuff ain't hit the fan yet. And what's happening, you just getting the case build up on you. You know? I'm telling you, those who are called white sovereign citizens, and that's melanated, so-called sovereign citizens and Moors who are under that banner and recognized as such, who are out of line with the authority and teachings of our prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's right, Malik Reeb, and Moors think just because they study in Moorish science. I say Moorish science is knowledge, order, rhythm, astrology, astronomy, nature, history, civics. Man, Moorish playing. We supposed to be teaching our babies. It ain't nothing more important than our rights and understanding who we are. And then after that, everything else fall underneath it. I tell y'all over and over and over, so-called sovereign citizen paperwork, so-called sovereign language, that uniform commercial codes, the United Nations declarations, when Moors be talking about that, expatriation procedures. It's infected the Moorish movement. And our prophet Noble Drew Ali always been stated, and he said, if you want European sheiks, I can give them to you. Me and our prophet Noble Drew Ali got tired of the Moors always running to the Europeans and accepting their verification over his lessons of freedom and salvation. When we talk about a nation, some Moors with good intentions who have not been properly educated, some criminal Negroes with mentalities, those looking to get a quick fix or trying not to pay child support or try to get out of the bill you done went into. To get over, have mixed, no disrespect, European so-called sovereign groups have been demonstrating, and mixing those demonstrations with the documents and information that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was bringing to our people for salvation. And the reason why most of these Moors are confused is because they have not been educated about the national side of our divine and national movement. And the national side is where the laws of freedom, the laws that protect our members, citizens, and students, the full process of proclaiming your nationality, and the laws that give us the right to do everything we need to do in order to build a nation and government in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The laws of freedom involve the 4 proclamations, Abraham Lincoln, the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, just like I was breaking down in our science that Moors are going to be keeping away from y'all. Not to be confused with the 13 amendments with 2 sections that most Moors talk about today. And they know they lying to y'all. The Hebrew codes that pertain to freedom, as shown by Leviticus 25 and 10, that's written on the Liberty Bell. Understanding how Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics was set up by Grand Sheikh Richard Ding El, by going to the Pentagon to speak to the military on naturalization and recording process for all Moorish Americans to come back lawfully into the constitutional fold and union and correct their status, religion, race, name, birth certificate, and jurisdiction. Let me say what I said. Listen to what I said. To come back to the constitutional fold and union and correct. So why y'all Moors talking about you got to change something? We're correcting a mistake. Correct our status, religion, race, name, birth certificate, and jurisdiction, and really understand what our Holy Quran, our literature, our one-on-one questionnaire, our authority, our charter and warrant and dispensation, and our divine constitution and bylaws is really saying, especially the degrees in Act 6. That's why I said it's a few more science temples that are not properly registered. So they don't have no saying power and able to do anything political. And there are some that only deal with the divine side and not teach the national side, along with these fighting the egos. That's why ain't nothing happening. So it's understandable why many people have tuned away their ears and why all Moors are confused and they choose to navigate by themselves. Well, you don't have to do that no more. We right here. And they navigate by themselves, or they try to mix different procedures in order to stop from getting misused and abused. So we're going to deal with it, y'all. We're going to deal with it. And we done. I got 15 more minutes. Right? However, Moors, Moors got it. A lot of Moors have been blowing the horn on the national side. When I'm telling y'all, nothing you doing is secret when you're on the internet. I promise you. All these fashion groups and all these individuals making all this fake up, talking all this stuff, it's not Moorish science. They never really took a look at the laws of freedom. They never understand when we talk about naturalization. When I said study laws, they never understand constitutional law and understand exactly what our founder intended and taught. So our movement no longer stay in turmoil and the people have a solid foundation on how to save themselves with the protection of a temple, with protection of a real body and a real Moorish government. By not taking a proper look at what the national side is, when we talk about the local, state, and federal agencies, they've been making a list. I'm telling y'all. I promise you. This is just a warning for those that's confused. So we're going to clear this up and we done. Let's deal with those who wish to call themselves sovereign citizens. Let's destroy this crap real fast. Through study of law and what our Prophet Noble Drew Ali has set up, Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the only true sovereign. And the only true creditor is the Western Hemisphere, is our Prophet. Those who become members and citizens in this movement is his heirs. Our Prophet Noble Drew Ali demonstrated this by how he registered our movement, what has been recorded for public record, and the language of our charter, our Holy Quran 101, our questionnaires, and our divine constitution, our bylaws. No one individual can be a sovereign. And you got to understand that if you study, your God or your higher power is your sovereign. That's why I be telling y'all, people got y'all committing fraud, which is then represented by the head of the nation and government. So anyone wishing to be an individual sovereign is an error of the law and the divine law. And hence our divine and national movement. You got to remember that the Dred Scott case showed that there is a sovereign community, a body politic. We the people, not an individual. And the language that some of our people wish to use will do nothing but get them jammed up at the end. It's getting ready to happen. A lot of them already jammed up. It will seem as confused legal jargon, being a paper terrorist, delusional of a grandeur, or being a sovereign in black. That's why I tell more, study the language of our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Study the language of our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's the key. And as a prophet, an adept, an angel, an Ali, it would only make sense that our Prophet Noble Drew Ali have foreseen what was to come and understood the language of law. So misguided Moors or individuals who wish to use the words of native like Moorsby, one more said that using those foreign languages on ID and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Using fake titles on their IDs. It paused. Hold on, y'all.